Well, hey, what's up, y'all? We are so glad you are here checking out the message today. Dom brought it, our assistant middle school director. He's incredible. He brought an amazing word, and you get to watch it. So we're excited for that. Sit back, grab some popcorn, go get a drink. You're at home, so why not? And enjoy this message.
All right. Whoa, Jonesy, you said yogurt, not water. That's okay. It's okay. We'll figure. Thank you. If I get thirsty, I'll just. All right. Cool. Hey, well, what's up, guys? How are you doing? Nice. Awesome. Wow. Hey, well, if you don't know me, my name is Dominic. I'm the assistant middle school director here. It is wet up here now. That's okay. We'll figure this out. If I fall, just you guys can help me back up or something, okay? Hey, I'm so excited you guys all showed up tonight, like, for real. And if you're new, I just want to say, like, we are super glad that you are here, and we hope you enjoy the night. But, all right, I'm going to get real with you guys for a second. We're getting deep really fast. There's someone that you guys don't know, and I want to introduce you to him. So if we can get the picture up on the screen, I'd like to introduce you to middle school Dom. He's the guy on the left. I know he's pretty big for middle school. I'm kidding. He's the guy on the right. That is me in middle school. And none of you know him, but let me tell you a little bit about him. That guy loved basketball, loved Jesus, I would say. Wasn't top priority or anything, but he loved Jesus and he loved friends. Those are the three things that made my life go around as a middle schooler. So, when I was in middle school, I decided that I was smarter than my parents. Yeah, I know. It works every time. I was like, I think I'm a genius. So here's what I did. I went to my parents and I was like, listen, guys. So like little Dom was like right here looking up at his parents. I was like, guys, I'm in 5th grade now. I'm about to be in middle school. I think that I'm the next LeBron James. So, yeah. And they're like, okay, Dom, you're probably right. Some hidden talent. And I go, guys, private school, Christian school is not going to get me to the NBA. And I say, I need to go to public school. So then my parents are up here and they're looking at me and they're like, okay, you're right. That's not what they said at all. They said, you're wrong. You're not going to public school just to play basketball. And I said, well, I think you guys are wrong. So this is where genius middle school Dom comes in. I take my Bible and I go back to my room for the night, all disappointed, and I just sit in my room and I open the Bible and I'm looking at the pages. Really just looking. I didn't want to read it. So I'm just flipping through the pages and I'm like, what have I learned about this book without actually reading it? And I figured out that it says, go be a light in a dark place. And I was like, got them. They can't say no to me saying, I want to go to public school to share Jesus with people. So that's what I did. I went back to them and I walked back out to them the next morning. I go, guys, I figured it out. I don't want to go to public school to play basketball. I want to go to public school to share the Bible with people and tell them about Jesus. And they said yes. So, yeah, you can clap or not clap. It's fine. Yeah. So I'm a genius, to say the least. At least middle school Dom was. A lot changed since then. But I got my answer. They said, yes, go play at public school. We'll transfer you if that's why you want to go to public school. So 6th grade year comes around and officially in middle school, and I walk into the first day of school, and I found out really fast that there is a lot of inappropriate words that are said in school that I did not know about. Not only did I find that out, I figured out really quick that my Christian school that had 110 people from kindergarten all the way to seniors in the same school, it was much different in the school that I transferred to because I had over 30 people in each classroom, and I didn't know anybody. So middle school Dom realized I wasn't actually a genius, and I figured out that I don't know a lot of words, and that wasn't a good thing because there was a reason I didn't know those words, and I also had no friends. So as the middle school goes on and the week goes on, I just try to talk to anybody that was willing to talk to me. And finally, I met this guy. His name was Matt, and he introduced me to this group of friends. They had been friends since like elementary school. So I start talking to him, start hanging out. He's really cool. He's really good at history, so I got to cheat off of his test. I know life was great. And I keep talking to him. And as the years go on, he's my homie. That group of friends, I made it in the group chat, and if you have a phone and you're the same way, that means you made it in the friend group. And as I'm hanging out with this group of friends, I'm starting to realize that each time I hang out with them, we're starting to watch a new movie that I never thought I'd watch. Not a good movie that I never thought I'd watch. Usually it was bad. Something I knew I wouldn't watch if my parents were in the room. Not only that, I was starting to talk a way that I knew I shouldn't be talking. And I was just starting to treat people how I knew I shouldn't be treating them, just to fit in with this group of friends. So middle school goes on, and I'm still friends with these guys, and we go into freshman year. And, I mean, that's high school, so we're like grown-ups now. And the first Friday of freshman year, football was on. So we're like, yeah, let's go to the game. We can sit in the student section, probably lead it as freshmen, whatever. So we decide we're going to go to town, and we're just going to stop at the only store we could afford anything from, which we didn't actually have money, but we went into the dollar store. I know, no money as a middle schooler, or high schooler, but it's okay. So we're in the store, and we're just looking around. It's a nice break from being outside, and we're just starving. But we're all complaining because none of us brought money. As we walk out the store, I see one of my friends reach into his back pocket, and he pulled out some candy. I'm like, I didn't fully think anything of it, but I was like, dude, you want to share some? I was like, where did you get that? And he's like, oh, yeah, I had it since school. And I'm like, I don't fully believe that, but okay, cool. And then I see him pull out another bag of candy, and I'm like, dude, what? You did not have all that. Like, I saw your pockets; they were not full. And then he pulls out another thing of candy, and I realized that we all said we did not have money, we had no bags, we had nothing, and I realized he stole the candy. And I was like, well, I don't want any of that. But this isn't stolen candy, so who wants this? Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. But I decided I was going to do the right thing. So I didn't eat the candy. And that was the first moment that I realized that my group of friends needed to change, because at that point, I was a little freaked out. I was like, am I going to go to jail for assisting in the stealing of $1 of candy? I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But I kept hanging out with them. But I knew I needed to change something. So freshman year ends, and I go to church camp. And at church camp, we're just talking about change. We're talking about stepping out and being a kingdom worker. If you've been to CLI, you would maybe know or have heard that term. And I realized that what I told my parents 5th grade year, just before middle school, that I wanted to be a kingdom worker and I wanted to share God with other people, was the exact opposite of what I was doing. So at church camp, I decided, pulled out my phone. I was like, I'm texting them. I'm done. So I text them, said, hey, I'm done with this group chat. I'm done with this group of friends. I need a change. And I tell you this story because I want you guys to realize something. We are in a year of change. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but you guys are wearing masks to church. Like, there's no way anybody in this room could say, no, life hasn't changed at all. And I almost guarantee, even if you're not wearing a mask, you don't look the same as you did 3 years ago, just like I don't look the same as I did in my picture in middle school. And what I want you guys to hear is that you are not alone. We get it. Life is tough, and life changes happen. And I don't know what change you are going through, but I think that by looking at what the Bible has to say about change, it can really help us in this season that we're in. So, what I want you guys to get from this whole thing is this: faith will grow when we embrace change. It's as simple as that. Faith will grow when we embrace change. And that's my big idea for tonight. And if you have a Bible, open it up to Genesis. We're going to be in Genesis 12. And in Genesis 12, verse 1, it says this. It says, "The Lord said to Abram, 'Leave your native country, your relatives, your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others.'" It continues on and says, "I will bless those who bless you and curse those who treat you with contempt. All the families on earth will be blessed through you." And what I want you to hear in those verses is that God came to this dude living a normal life. He came to this guy named Abram and he said, basically, I want you to change everything about your life. I want you to leave your family, your relatives, your friends, and go to a land that you're unfamiliar with. And I want you guys to hear that because we are not the first people to deal with change. It's back in the Bible we see that people dealt with change. And not only did they deal with change, but sometimes God calls us to change. And if we continue on in Genesis 12, verse 4 says this: "So Abram departed as the Lord had instructed, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran." And I want you guys to get this. It goes along with the big idea. Faith will grow when we embrace change. And Abram did exactly that. It says in that verse, he departed as the Lord instructed. He didn't sit there and go, well, God, are you sure you know better than me? Like, I like my homies. Like, I don't want to leave. I'm pretty set in the land that I'm in. He didn't do that. He embraced change. He said, okay, God, I'm going. And he just went. And if you read, which I encourage you, go read in Genesis, starting at Genesis 12, and just read the next, 10 chapters. It's incredible to see the journey that Abram goes on, all because God called him to it. But if you read this story, you see that Abram followed after God, no matter how hard it was. He took his wife, and they went out, and even people followed him. And I want you guys to hear this. Abram truly did embrace change. And just like Abram embraced change, I think that we're in a season where we can all learn to embrace change. Maybe the change that you're going through isn't something that you're like, God showed up to me in a vision and he told me to change. Like, he told me to start wearing a mask, and he told me COVID was going to be a thing, and he told me I was going to be in online school or miss my sports. But I don't think every change has to happen that way. I think more times than not, life just changes, and how we handle it shows where our faith is. And I don't know what change you're going through. Maybe some of you are in online school. Maybe some of you are in a different school. Maybe some of you, you're just like, my parents are fighting. They're throwing around this word that is called divorce. Maybe that's a change you're dealing with. I don't know what change it is for you, but I want to encourage you of this. If you embrace change, no matter how hard it is, if you're like, I'm going into this change and I'm just going to embrace it. I'm going to give it to God, and do what Abram did and just step into it and be willing to follow God and seek God through it, your faith will grow. I promise you that. And if you go and read this story, you see that Abram, it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always say yes and it's just simple. He got to this new land, and in the land a famine occurred, and that meant that all the resources were gone. So he had to go to this next city. And in the next city he told his wife, he said, listen, you're not my wife in this city. You have to pretend to be my sister. And he said this because he knew that if he came to this city and said that this beautiful woman that was his wife, they would have took her and killed him. But if you remember what we just read a couple of chapters earlier, said that anybody that curses him would be cursed. So we see that Abram, a dude that just stepped out in faith and moved to a different land, he even struggled sometimes. It wasn't always easy. He went against what God said, and he lacked faith in a moment, and he lied about who his wife was. And if you continue to read the story, you see that God was mad at the king that took his wife and said, why did you take her? He or she was married to a descendant of me. Why did you take her? And I want to get this across to you guys. Even a dude like Abram who was willing to just step out, leave the country, lands that he was familiar with, leave his family, even he struggled to embrace change sometimes. But the moments where we saw that he embraced change and he just said, yes, Lord, and he stepped into it, no matter how hard it was, we see that his faith grew. He grew closer to God. And what I didn't tell you guys about middle school Dom was the rest of the story leading up to today. And that's this. Middle school Dom said no to those friends. He said, I'm done. I'm done. I need to change who my friends are. And that was a scary text for a middle schooler going just into freshman year. It was a scary text. And I didn't know if I'd have friends when I got back from church camp. But here's what happened. Saying no to those friends led to a new group of friends. A group of friends that I literally still hang out with to this day. I just played Fortnite with them last night. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to brag, but we did get 2 wins, yeah. Thank you, yeah. Loving the new Marvel season, so yeah. No, but I'm still close with that friend group today. And that friend group introduced me and my family to a new church. A church where I was introduced to an internship. Where that internship led to a job in ministry. And that job in ministry led to today. Where I can stand in this church with you amazing middle schoolers and work at Rock Point. But it's all because of one change. I embraced one change. I tell you, if I was still hanging out with that friend group, I don't know where I'd be. I really don't. And here's the cool thing. I was writing this message. I knew the friend group I was going to talk about. And I told you guys about Matt at the beginning. He's one of the guys I said, I'm done being friends with you. My first middle school friend. And it was crazy because as I'm writing this message and processing through saying no to this friend group, and I'm starting to think what are they up to? And I was sitting in church this weekend and my phone rang. So any good staff member of a church, I answered it. I walked out, I answered my phone. And it was Matt calling me. A guy that I hadn't talked to since freshman year when I said no to him. And I want you guys to hear this. He heard that I moved across the country to Arizona. He heard that I got married, and he heard that I was working at a church. I don't know from who, but he heard that. And through me making the one change, freshman year of high school, it led to a new group of friends, a job in ministry, and now a moment where the friends that I said no to I got to tell about Jesus. And I got to tell them about the job that I get to do here, which is talk to middle schoolers about who God is and what the Bible is. So I want to encourage you of this. The big idea was our faith will grow when we embrace change. And here's the thing. Your faith will grow when you choose to embrace change, but the people around you's faith will grow when you choose to embrace change. The changes that you make and the changes you step into, no matter how hard they are, if you choose to embrace them, people are watching. And who knows where it'll end up? Who knows who it'll impact and who it could lead to Jesus? So I want to leave you guys with this before we head off into communities. I really don't know what change you are going through. I don't know how hard your situation is or how easy your situation is. But I do know this. You are not alone. I promise you, you are not alone. Just like Abram when he went through the hardest of changes and left his family, God was there with him. And I want to encourage you guys with this. By embracing change, embrace the God that you follow who does not change. Because through any change that we go through, God is never going to change. He loves you the same, and he wants you just as bad as he wanted you before changes happened. So I want to leave you with this. Your faith will grow if you choose to embrace change. I promise you. Step into this next season of change. Whatever it is, embrace it. Whether it's just an attitude change and that's how you're going to embrace change, or maybe for some of you in this room, it's this. You just need to figure out who Jesus is, and you need to change the lifestyle that you're living. Maybe you need to open this a little more and change what you're starting your morning with. I don't know what it is. There's so many different changes that you could choose to make or that are just going to happen, but embrace change. Let me pray for you guys, and then we're going to head off into communities after Caleb lets us know where we're going. So bow your heads. God, we thank you for who you are. We thank you that you are a God that never changes. No matter what change we are going through, we thank you that you will stay the same. And God, I pray over all the middle schoolers in this room. I pray that they would choose to seek after you, and they would choose to embrace change. And God, I pray that you would use the changes in their life to show other people who you are. God, I pray that communities would just be awesome. We pray this all in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the message. Hey, we want you to be in a community still, even though you might not be able to be with us in person, and we miss you a ton, and we can't wait for the day that you do get to be here on a Wednesday night for middle school youth. But until then, we want you to be in a community still. So you can go to rockpointchurch.com/communities and register for an online community so that you still have people to do life with. Cool. Peace out. Have a good one.